right now as we ride on board, I think, with Stephen Hammond. He ducked out yesterday at the green. Let's see what he does here.
Here we go then. IGT away and running early morning here at Sebring. What a great start. What a beautiful sight too. 55 cars. Majority of which are Porsches, but we've got the odd Audi out there as well as several Ferraris.
So here they are going into mission turn 3. Tom Pank. Oh, Tom closed the door on Steve Hammond. Now that was great driving by Stephen Hammond. He knew that Tom Pank had the fender on him, gave him the room. It was a great pass by Tom, but I give all the credit there, Steve Hammond, for letting that happen. Collected himself, and look, he lives to drive another lap, and he's passing Tom Pank right back there. Steve Hammond, hats off to you, buddy.
Yeah, he put his, I mean, these two are really going at it, and they have been all weekend, and this front four, again, starting to form. I love that piece of string he's got in there. You can really see the G-force working. Yeah. When that string is hanging down, that means it's going nowhere. When it's going from left to right like that, that's the G-force that's acting on him in terms of what it's like to be inside that car. So it's a good indicator.
Yeah, you're right.
Under pressure.
Now, the tree that was hanging from that string, the air freshener, that's fallen off.
Gone.
Yeah.
Well, they removed that for weight, maybe.
Maybe.
Who knows?
But there's the car, Stephen Hammond. Really great showing. The 4-liter class. He had a great showing with his dad at Daytona. And glad that he's back more with us racing because, man, that guy can put on a show.
You know, I mentioned the fact that we've got professional racing drivers, we've got semi-professionals and even instructors out there. But when you see the likes of Guy Cosmo and a few other big names that, you know, Skeen and so on, you really get a feeling that Pippa Mann's out there, for example. You know, you get a real feeling that this is not just a gentleman's race at all. There's some really good pedals out there.
Yeah, the number 119, Chris Ruppel and Eric Zitza. Eric Zitza of Zotz Racing is one of our best Porsche drivers in the paddock. Looks like we're under double yellow.
Yep. Yeah. Confirmation, there's the caution.
Turn 1.
Oh. What happened here, do you think? That's a weird one. He may have got a touch there and got turned around.
Yeah, the debris at turn 1 indicates metal to metal, and then the fact that it was a high-speed contact because the debris field is quite a bit further than the car. And that's what happens. It's a really wide turn 1 that then funnels down to. So you come into turn 1, about 6 lanes.
A couple of cars coming in. Now, now is there a pit window of actual for the official pit stop, or can they come in any time?
We'd have to ask Ken that. With SVRA, you have to do 2 laps before you can pit. So right now they would be breaking the rules, but I think International GT, it's pit whenever. And so some of these, if like Mark Matisse, for example, if he was to come in, his partner Mike Skeen, TA2 champion, we're going to see. So see, they're not in any kind of hurry. No. They've got a stopwatch. And they're just telling them, here's what I'm doing. So
early,
a lot of these Porsches, they don't have to refuel. They don't have to change tires. So he's going to pit now because pitting under caution is not full-time speed. So that's a good strategy if it works out, because if it stays green the whole time, he should win by a lap if he's on pace.
Yes, good point. So there you see on the top left-hand side of your picture, Stephen Hammond, winner already yesterday, and David Tuati and Nathan Bird, the man you were talking about, in 2nd place. So what a introduction he's having. Pedro Torres in 3rd place. Reg Williams looking for a good result, currently in 4th place. Juan Feyen in 5th, and Chris Ruppel and Eric
Zitza.
Zitza, what a great name.
Yeah, Team Zotz.
Zitza.
And there is James Hammond in 7th, Stephen Hammond's dad. But we're off. No, there he is. Okay, he was behind our beautiful Honda Civic pace car. There's Stephen Hammond, followed by David Tuati, Nathan Bird, and that bright.
And I'm assuming that your second drivers, not all of them have got 2 drivers, but when I look at Mike Skeen and Pippa Mann, they're looking to do the second stint as the more professional or potentially faster drivers.
Yeah, and so if Pippa Mann was my teammate, I would come in right away. You know, why not?
You know,
why not put the race in the hands of somebody a little more qualified than myself? And, you know, I think she could pick up a victory for the team a lot more than I could. The way a lot of the drivers think, the longer the pro can be in
yeah.
and the amateur out, the better chance of moving up.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they're all here to have fun.
Exactly. Well, we're under caution here in our first race of the day. Welcome to Sebring International Raceway as we take you through the International GT race. This is the third race of the weekend for IGT, as it's called. Ken Fengler, who you were going to speak to on the grid, but we got rumbled. They got out early, which is a good thing because we want to keep on time. A lot of races to come. We've got, 5 or 6 groups of SVRA races still to come, including some stock car races, all stock car, with the likes of Joe Nemechek back in action. Really looking forward to that. And then, of course, a massive field in TA2. Go ahead.
I wanted to talk about the 343. He was just coming through turn 10 there, or our camera position. Number 343, Jimmy Adams in a 2014 Porsche GT3 Cup car. Featherlight paint scheme. He is the owner of Featherlight Trailers, the best trailers in the business. Like, I've pulled Featherlight trailers. They make it so much easier. They track straight, and the weight on these Featherlight trailers make it so much easier. So if you are in the market to buy a trailer to haul your race car, make sure you look at the Featherlight trailers because your truck's engine and transmission will thank you for it.
So this is one of the leaders, Bob Neopol and Lonnie Pechnik, in the pits at the moment. So, like you say, if the theory is right and they get out there while this caution is on, they're going to be a good hot seat.
So, when we go back to green, they're going to look 2 laps down, but you're going to see by the end of this, they might be 1.5 laps ahead. It's all just working out the math. So if they're doing, let's say, 2 minute and 5 second laps under race, and here they're doing 4 minute laps under pace, it's going to make up, the math is going to work out itself. Now, if we go to full course caution again, it might be a wash.
Look at that, they're putting the old cooler. He's not sweeping up leaves.
Yeah.
He's just cooling his driver down. Yeah. I just saw the hand out of the Honda Civic telling the drivers that there's 1 more lap of caution to go. There's obviously a lot of metal and debris down at turn 1. That's why we're under caution. We haven't seen the incident yet, but it's obvious that 1 car at least was involved in a little fisticuffs, a little touching, because, as you say, a lot of debris on track. And we're approaching that incident right now. And as you can see, as they pass our commentary position, they are still under caution.
Yeah, you can hear the blowers. And International GT is not about metal-to-metal contact. That's a really unfortunate. It does unfortunately happen, especially with a group of 51 cars.
Yeah.
But this group is a clean racing group, sportsman racing, lots of fun. So it's unusual to have a metal-to-metal contact
what
like that
here. What a
here
beautiful sight, Ben.
GT.
I mean,
yeah.
I've watched Porsche racing around the world. I've done a lot of Carrera Cup stuff, but I've never seen a field this deep.
Okay,
amazing.
So they're starting to come in. There's the RS1 and the Stuttgart Cup. RS1 is one of the big teams here. That's the number 12.
Again, no real drama. So this caution causing a little bit of chance for a little deviation to the race strategy.
So speaking of, this is Joe Rizzo in that number 12 and Spencer Pumpelly.
Oh.
So that's a pretty big name about to jump into that Stuttgart. So if Spencer Pumpelly's jumping into that Stuttgart Cup,
I've got a feeling that Spencer's probably just warming up for the 12 hours.
I just got word from the radio that 67 may have come out ahead of 72.
Okay.
So we'll have to see. So yeah, we're in the 72. So we have a new leader, but not. He's a lap down, but he's out front. Yeah. But man, the strategy of getting him out front is going to really work out because he should be faster than Hammond. So now he has a free track to move up through the field. That nice job by Bob Neopol and Lonnie Pechnik's team.
But did Lonnie get in the car? That's the question. I didn't see a driver change, so I presume that Bob Neopol is still in the seat.
But what they can do now is they've already done their 5-minute change, so they can come back in and do a driver change in as fast and as safely as they can and go back out.
I see. Well, the sun came up. We had a little bit of a misty morning, early doors, as they say in England. And, yeah, it blew off very quickly. And as you can see, the bright sunshine coming out. It's been very dry here in Florida, and it's very dusty offline. That was a factor yesterday. And in fact, you were saying that even the photography roads are dusty, and that's blowing dust onto the track as well. But if you saw some of the qualifying last night, I'm thinking of Connor Zilic. He hit the dirt and really threw up a real rooster tail of dirt offline. So I think that's a factor to watch out for today. Still under caution then in our first race of the day, IGT. This is their third and final race of the weekend. Tom Pank winning race 1 and Stephen Hammond winning race 2. I would have said that this probably should do it. We'll see as we go down the Almond Straight whether...
The lights are off the pace car. And let's see if Stephen Hammond can get by Bob Neopol, because it's going to be a huge strategy. But Bob Neopol with that car, the GT4R, instead of the GT4 that Stephen Hammond is, should have just a little bit more power, a little bit more drive.
Here we go then. The pace car has signaled that it's coming into the pits and therefore will be racing after this. Here he comes. He will jink right, and he does.
And now it's up to the 67.
Now look to the left
67.
for the green flag. It waves now, and away we go. Once again, International GTs. Beautiful sound.
Neopol is not pulling like he should be. And look for the 68 to duck in there. Stephen Hammond staying right on the rear. This could be a war of strategy as we look there at the 27 of Bob Wyson.
And we go on board with a second place man, and this is the weaving through 3, 4 and 5 and coming up to the bridge at 6, and Big Bend is next. And the next overtaking position is that hairpin. We've got 44 minutes to go of the 1 hour, and like we said, a compulsory pit stop. So the whole field now driving towards that last hairpin moment of braking, and one of the Ferraris dipping out there and going up the inside. That's the 17.
Juan Fayen.
Yep.
It's a beautiful car. 2021 Ferrari 488 4-liter.
Yeah, we got a 458s and a 488s out there. And down the Fangio straight and into 10 through Collier and 11 and coming up to Tower. And already the field's spreading out quite dramatically as we again look at that number 17 car. It's a lovely looking car, isn't it?
That is, yeah, very nice.
And like you said, there's different categories of racing here. You've got the Maranello Cup, and that obviously stands for Ferrari, and you've got the Stuttgart Cup, which is where they make the Porsches. And so,
yeah, the Stuttgart Cup is like the Caymans, and then we've got the Mission Foods GT3 Cup Trophy, which are the more Porsche 911, the Cup car.
Yeah.
And then we have usually some exhibition. So if you're watching right now, Bob Neopol, the person that looks like he's leading the race, is actually a lap down. And he needs to stay ahead of these drivers because he needs to be pulling ahead and trying to make that lap back. And he will if it stays under green, because everybody is required to take a pit stop. That's Chris Ruppel, Eric Zitzer right there on the 119 as they come around Big Machine Vodka. Spike Cooler, turn 17, side by side there.
Oh, that was a little too close for comfort.
Yeah, I didn't like that. That's Reg Williams, really good driver in the 008. Look at those wheels. Beautiful wheels. Fixie Wheels just came in as a sponsor of International GT as our beautiful cars go into Mission Foods Turn 3.
So I'm going to keep an eye on both Tom Pank and Bob Neopol. I've got Neopol down in 29th position at the moment in Guy Cosmo. That's going to be interesting. Just behind them, Jody Miller and Pippa Mann car, and the Matthias and Skeen car just behind them in 31st. So there's some interesting combinations a lot further down the field than you'd expect, but things could change quickly with that pit stop.
Look at that. This is just really fun racing to watch in all the groups. That's Jody Miller and the Pippa Mann car. The number 3, that's a 2018 Porsche GT3. I don't know if there was a driver change, but look for Pippa Mann, who was just with us at Daytona.
Yep. Yeah, Pippa's from England originally, but she's raced most of her career here in the States, and she's a perennial entry to the Indy 500. She tries every year to get there, and she's pretty remarkably good at raising the money and making it to the 33. She's never torn up too many trees. She's never won the 500, but just to be there and to gain the money and to gain the notoriety as another female able to make the big show, always good.
I'm real puzzled. I need some Porsche people to tell me why Steve Hammond in that 4-liter can keep up with that GT4R of Bob Neopold down that long straight. That's just something that I'm looking at. I'm sure some of you are watching, wondering why that is. So leave a comment if you're watching on SpeedTour.tv on our YouTube page, or if you're watching on Facebook, leave us a comment. What's happening there that I'm just not seeing or understanding? And here's the Featherlight car there of Jimmy Adams, 343. Beautiful car with the Featherlight paint scheme. Coming into the 77.
It's almost one note sound out there, isn't it, with all those Porsches? Haven't seen the Audi yet.
Yeah, Geronimo Guzman, we're missing you, buddy. I don't know. I saw him last night. He didn't mention that he wasn't going to be out there. I don't know what's happening.
Field spreading out now, and with 39 minutes to go, the usual pit stop is about the halfway point. Makes sense. But I suppose you also look for traffic as well, and as we saw, you're not expecting a caution like we did, but if we get another one, I think they'll all dive straight in, don't you?
Yep. Now, I was at grid, and Todd Sloan, who's now 16th, had to start in the back. He didn't have his belts buckled. I think he got to grid a little bit late. They were working on something, and had to take the green from the back of pit lane. And so working his way up to 16th, that's pretty good for Todd Sloan in that number 25. As we watch Stephen Hammond here. Now watch this for my Porsche fans. He's really getting a good exit out of 16, but how is he staying with this GT4R? That GT4R should be gapping him here a little bit, to my feeble understanding of Porsche. He's getting the draft. You can see that clearly. But I thought that the 4R would be gapping him.
Well, first of all, he's braking later.
Yep.
That's for sure. And look how close he's got as they go through Sunset.
It could just be driver ability.
But he loses on the torque, on the acceleration down the main straight just a little bit.
And Tuati and Bird right behind Steve Hammond.
Well, you mentioned it. Nathan Bird looking for a better result than yesterday. He's already had a second place, and David Tuati, who's been a part of IGT for many a year.
You know, if I came into racing brand new like Nathan Bird is and got a second place in a 50-car field in International GT, I might hang it up and just quit while I'm ahead. You know, that's really, really impressive for Nathan. Obviously, there are really good things to come for his career.
I mean, more and more we're seeing youngsters. I've seen it. We had a British GT champion a few years ago who won in a Porsche 911 and then went on to Asia to win the Carrera Cup. His name is leaving me now, but it's a very, I mean, you wouldn't naturally think of Porsches as the obvious starting point. But if you can do it, it really does open up your career to any form of racing, because if you can get your head around racing at this level, in this kind of car, and I was talking to Mark Miller yesterday about this, he said that this car particularly is an easy car to drive fast if you're not a great racing driver. But a lot of great racing drivers race against each other in these cars, and rather than chasing just good lap times, they're chasing increments of tenths. In comes the 5. That's Michael Martin and Eric Zitza.
So I don't know how he's doing this, but according to our sheet, Eric Zitza is racing 2 cars. That's
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a driver change.
Okay, so sorry, ladies, I'm trying to make sense of this, but you can see Steve Hammond trying to duck out there. And David Tuati, look at the plane in the background.
Nice.
Nathan Bird, that car is really staying with Steve Hammond. So I believe David Tuati started the race.
It'll all come to full fruition, don't worry. Todd Sloan currently in 14th position. Lucas Pank, Tom's son, just starting out as well. He's in 15th at the moment. That's a much better showing from him compared to the previous 2 races. And still in the top 10, John Reisman, who had a pole position for the first race. He's in 9th. In fact, he's doing some SVRA racing as well. He's in 9th position at the moment, just ahead of Marcel Fayen. Tim Savage in 11th. Javier Ripoll in 12th.
And there he is, Reisman, in that Interlaken Inn livery red and black car. He is one of the sponsors and marketing partners of the International GT Series. Has a really nice resort hotel right near Lime Rock Park in Lakeville, Connecticut. Beautiful facility. So if you're coming to Lime Rock with us for the Memorial Day Classic, look there to spend the weekend. You will have a great time with John and Paul Reisman. Interlaken Inn.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with some of the hotels and resorts, almost every track, VIR, Road America have got one big resort inn stroke hotel where a lot of the races stay. But boy, do you have to get it early if you want to stay there, because they are locked out and booked out most years, because they know the racing schedule. They know that they can attract, you know, the racing drivers and the teams. And so if you want to stay there, you've got to get in quick. But it's a great experience, there's no question. Same Road America and many others.
So here it is, the Jody Miller Pippa Man car, followed there by the Jimmy Adams car, the 343. Oh. Look at that, getting a little wide.
Got a wheel on the dirt.
That Featherlight car.
And that car, actually, Jody Miller and Pippa Man just doing a 2:13.4, their fastest lap of the race.
Look at how rough that is coming through 17. If there's just a couple of places you can put your wheels that doesn't get rough, and if you miss it, it can really upset your handling.
Headlights on then for Stephen Hammond.
No, that's Neopol.
Neopol, excuse me, there's Hammond.
Yeah. And then there's Tuwadi and Bird. Coming into Mission Foods turn at Sebring International Raceway. This is a great angle here, great shot of he's taking that late apex to set him up for this part. Now this is a crazy part. If you don't know anything about Sebring International Raceway, it is a track basically designed to break your car. I was talking to Larry Bishop at MCO Gears yesterday, and they basically have to set up their transmissions to run like 24-hour Le Mans to run a 6-hour race here at Sebring. It's just that rough on the gear.
Yeah, they talk about the 12 hours. I don't think you could do a 24 hours here. I think it would just...
Yeah, I was talking
car would rattle into pieces.
The Audi team years ago with that LMP car that's racing with us.
Yep.
And they think if they can do the 12 hours of Sebring, they have no problem with the 12-hour Le Mans.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so these cars, these Porsche GT, what are called Cup cars, are designed to race here at Sebring, and you can tell that they can handle this track really well. There's just enough give in the suspension to handle the bumps, but they've really got a lot of good grip, mechanical grip, and downforce to stay around these turns of speed.
I mean, this is almost quite good for Stephen Hammond because he knows the situation.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to attack. He just needs to follow the lines, and I guess he's fairly comfortable. He's obviously got to watch his back, but he's got no fear about the man in front of him because he's effectively a lap down. But that could all change, of course.
Yeah, but I think the pride in anybody would like to lap the leader. You know, the person that started the race on pole.
He's getting a slipstream here down the back straight.
Uh-oh. That's not a good line. Let's don't get caught up there.
No, he's dropped back in.
You're
back
right.
on the front straight.
You're right. Bob Neopol does have a little more torque out of 17. Stephen Hammond's out braking him into 17.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed in the last couple of laps anyway. With that front group now pulling away.
Okay, here comes Jimmy Adams taking a different line. He's going to try to late apex 17. There's Reisman there in that Interlaken Inn.
Silver 37 of Jay Smith and Corey Friedman. They've yet to take their pit stop. They started 10th in the GT4R. A 2:09.8 they said in qualifying. From Virginia. Right, here you go. Trying to see the number.
Looks like 987, 981.
Fuel going in and fire extinguisher ready. Safety paramount, of course. And now, with halfway through this race, we'll start to see more of the cars coming. What would you say, about 4 or 5 made that early pit stop during the first caution?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to calculate that, but anecdotally, just from what we saw on the camera, I'd say about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
There's a car there pulled off down in that runaway spot, so we didn't have to go full yellow. Looks like with a mechanical. Didn't get a shot of the car, but there's the 176 of James Hammond. Beautiful paint scheme on that car. Really like that car, followed by Jimmy Adams.
Now, I'm assuming the Hammonds are related.
Yes, father-son.
Which one's which?
Stephen, the son, is leading the race.
And James is dad.
Yep. But James is doing well here in 6th place overall.
Yeah. Good showing. We've got quite a few father-sons in this paddock, haven't we?
Yeah.
Races.
And racing with Jimmy Adams in that Featherlight vehicle is Mike Skinner, NASCAR champion.
Yeah.
Pole position at the Daytona 500 a few years ago. And then if you watch the Grand Tour on Amazon,
yes,
he
I
was
didn't
the
realize
American.
he was such a celebrity.
Yeah.
What was he doing on Grand Tour then?
He was the American that would, like the Stig in Top Gear, he was the American test driver.
I love it. So just to be clear, the 67 you're watching leading this race at the moment is a lap down simply because he's taken a pit stop. And he can all come into play once they've all shuffled through their pit stops. So effectively, as you can see on the top left of your screen, Stephen Hammond leading the race at the moment from David Tuati and Nathan Bird. Pedro Torres, we haven't seen much of him in the 11, is in 3rd. And there are 28 minutes to go, just over.
Yeah, it's confusing when you said that. I keep thinking just from visuals that Bob Neopol is in the lead.
Yeah.
So we are in the leader's car right now, Stephen Hammond, who is just driving a very smooth, consistent race through the Bishop's Bend. If you only knew how difficult this really was, this track. Setting this up, the most important corner here at Sebring, turn 16, setting this up, getting the power down, and he's just trying to get into the slipstream of that very fast GT4R of Neopol.
We're hoping to have Kerry Hitt, of course, one of the TA drivers for many a year, up in the booth again. He's not racing this weekend, but I asked him which is the toughest corner for him here at Sebring. And interestingly enough, he said Bishop. He said it's one of those corners that teases you every lap because you think you can take it flat. And you can, but it can be all sorts of trouble if you do. So he said it's always wanting you to come in there faster.
Yeah.
And that was the area through Bishop and Le Mans just before this particular section, which is, of course, the Ullman Straight.
So now the field is starting to spread out. And in this enduro race, you really see that Ferrari hit the brakes, come down. Let's see how he goes through. You'll see a blue dot on the bridge right there at the top of your screen. That is supposed to be where you are supposed to hit the mark. And I was saying that a Skippy Barber instructor, Jim Pace, who we all love and just lost just a couple of years ago, painted that many years ago at Daytona, 24-hour winner of Jim Pace, as this is where you're supposed to hit it. And then talking to Thomas Merrill, who came from Skip Barber Instruction, he said, yes, that's where we tell all of our students that's the quickest, smoothest line through turn 17. So they're all trying to go through under that blue spray painted dot.
So we're keeping an eye on when the major pit stops will start to evolve. And I can hear cars already coming into the pit lane. Can't quite see from my position who, what, where, but we've got Tony Garcia who will be running around and making sure that we do. But the complexion of this race will change dramatically in a few moments as they come through the hairpin once again at 7. Up the Fangio Straight.
So there's Jimmy Adams right there behind James Hammond. Two Jimmys fighting it out. And And there's Todd Sloan. Man, nice job, Todd. He's coming in. Looks like we are going to have a tire change here. This is pretty rare, but he might have gone out on scuffs. And the team knows that they've got the chance to put this on. So this might be a strategy that they think we're going to finish this race with brand new Pirelli P0 tires.
Well, they are sticker tires. You can see the stickers.
Well, this could change everything. We get a number on that car, Tony. 03. See, Tony is always on it. I love that dude. That is Marcel Fayen.
Yep.
GT4 2019. Coconut Grove, Florida. I love Coconut Grove, Florida. There's a Cafe 2 to Tango there that I always eat at. There's that blue dot.
Yeah. We'll start to see more and more pit stops now, but this Ferrari-Porsche battle here is not coming into the pits anytime soon.
Now watch the front end of this car fall down if he gets on the binders here. That might be yeah, there it is. Just a little touch of the brakes. That's all he needs. That's a really fast turn 1 as they come down here into Mission Foods turn 3. Probably the corner, the most treacherous corner this weekend. We've seen a lot of melee happening there.
Yeah, and it's certainly taken out a few over the years as well, because it's the heavy braking there. The first heavy braking of the lap. Nicholas Groombridge is the man chasing in the 56, who qualified 24 in that GT 3.8. And here we go with the driver change.
This might be Tuati and Bird, and there's James Hammond coming in. So
so now we're starting to see it changing quickly. Yeah.
So here's the car.
James Hammond is in.
All right. Let's see what we do here. This is Nathan Bird strapping in. Let's see if we can find David Tuati, because I've never seen David Tuati get out of a car unhappy.
So who was it that gave you the information on Bird?
I think it was Bird's dad.
Yeah,
texted
so
me.
He's tuning in. I hope he's enjoying this.
Phone and find.
All right. So the David Tuati and Nathan Bird car in the pits at the moment, as are several others. James Hammond has also come in. The leader, Stephen Hammond, has not. And coming down towards turn 1.
So now everything kind of changes if you're watching. David Tuati's giving him some last-minute instructions. Hey, it might be slick here. Watch out for this here. If I had my son racing, I think I would pick Tuati. There he is. There's Bird to say, would you give my son some instructions? Would you co-drive? I can't think of a better instructor for these Porsche GT3 Cup cars. Well, great guy.
That's another beauty of this series. Is you can work. If you do 2 drivers, you can work with a more experienced driver as a youngster, which is exactly what Nathan Bird is doing. Getting a bit of advice there, talking about the track, talking what to do, and away he goes. Thumbs up from him, big wave. Just checking all the dials, etc. And keep an eye on where Neopol moves up the field as each and everybody comes in to the pits. Of course, he's done his pit stop. He's currently 16th. And here we go.
So that's the car we just saw get his tires changed. So we're going to keep an eye on that and see if that was a good strategy. So again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining us on our YouTube or our Facebook feeds, please tell us where you're watching from. Tell us who you're rooting for, and give us some insight on these cars. Tell us what you're seeing. I know that we have a ton of Porsche and Ferrari experts out there. So tell us some of the insight that you're seeing, and we'll announce it and see if you're right.
They are about to head out. That was the second place team, Tuati and Bird. The doors were closing, and I think they are ready to get out there. Neopol now up to 8th position. So it could be a gamble that's paying off at the moment. It's always hard to tell until everybody's back out and shuffle through, isn't it? So here's your current leader on track, at least, but he's currently in 8th position because he's done his pit stop. So he's effectively shuffling through the order as the others come in. Away goes the 68. Now remember, they left in, they were in 2nd place before the pit stop shuffle. And likewise, the 176 getting ready to go out of James Hammond. He came in early too, but we've had pit stops very early when we had that caution. Of Neopol. Will he come in this time? Now we're back on board with car 72. That's Stephen Hammond coming into 7 at the hairpin and up the Fangio straight. Again, talking to Kerry, he said this is his favorite part of the circuit. It's very fast and a big kink either way, both ways, and then into 10, which is tricky. So at the moment it's Javier Ripoll leading the way, Tom Pank 2nd, Juan Feyen in 3rd, and Thomas Ballister now moving up to 2nd place ahead of Tom Pank. John Reisman. So now we're starting to see some familiar names. Andy Pilgrim, who won here in this race last year in 7th position. Bob Neopol, Guy Cosmo just behind them. And they now move up to 4th place as the pit stops start to shuffle through. It's going to be an interesting last 15 minutes to this, that's for sure.
Yeah, so as you see now, Bob Neopol and Guy Cosmo have moved up to 4th place. So their pit strategy's working. There he is right there, Nathan Bird. Let's see if he can work his way back up through. And there's Stephen Hammond, who was leading, but came into the pits. Mark Matisse and Mike Skeen in the top 10. You can't ever count out Mike Skeen, as we've learned, nor Pippa Mann in 11th there with Jody Miller.
Yeah, Mike Skeen doing double duty. He'll be in action, on the feature TA2 race, but that's later in the day, so this is not a problem for him, no question. He's got the time and the energy probably to rest up and get ready for another 75-minute race in a Trans Am, which is no mean physical feat. And now Tom Pank picks up the lead.
Okay, there goes Reisman in the pits.
Mark Mathis, Mike Skeen's car, the 77.
Hey, Michael Woodall's watching from Nashville, Tennessee. Michael Woodall, I'm in Franklin, Tennessee. Welcome.
That was Juan Feyen just going out in the number 17. Good. Welcome, Tennessee.
We've got somebody from Maine rooting for Pippa Mann and David Tuati's teams. Wilmington, North Carolina.
I'm watching Tuati and Bird on the live timing, and they're currently in 15th, having done their driver change.
Is Butch Leitzinger racing today?
He is not.
Well, he was in the lineup. He usually races with Juan Gonzalez, but I didn't see Juan Gonzalez take the green. Juan Gonzalez might have left, which means Butch Leitzinger, unfortunately, may not be in this race.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, the 81. Yes, they are down, but I haven't seen.
Are they in it?
Yeah, well, okay. They qualified 9th.
Yeah.
Juan Gonzalez, Butch Leitzinger.
A lot of time Juan has to leave on Sunday to go deal with, his business. He does run a huge business, Mission Foods.
Well, most of these guys do.
I tell you what's cool. I brag to all my friends that, hey, I know Juan Gonzalez, because everybody loves their Taco Tuesdays. And Mission Foods chips, tortilla chips, salsa, queso, that is the way to go. if you also enjoy your Taco Tuesdays like my family does. And we love having Juan Gonzalez here, but understand he's got a busy schedule. As there we are with Stephen Hammond.
Still Javier Ripoll out there. Tom Pank second.
Hey, I've got to give it up here. This is pretty funny. T. Osborne writes, do pit crews have to wear safety shoes? Now, T. Osborne, I got to tell you, I just texted some staff and said, hey, from where I'm sitting, some of the crews are breaking the SVRA enduro rules. Now, I'm not sure if International GT operates under different rules, but that's a keen eye from T. Osborne.
What were they wearing?
So T. Osborne, if you need a job with SpeedTour, we might need you to apply.
That's Russell Wittenberg in the 33 in the Cayman, 3.4 Cayman, from Ormond Beach, Florida. So what did you spot? What shoes did you spot?
There are some people wearing fire suits at their waist. Supposed to wear the fire suits over their shoulders. There was one wearing some questionable shoes. So we'll see. I wish Ken Fangler was up here to clear this up with us.
188, that was Thomas Ballister just going through in the GT3.
And Tom Pank, we got to give it up for Tom Pank. I love hanging out with him. Just so much fun. Great crew. Kurt and his team at Ultra Performance do a wonderful job preparing these cars. Lucas Pank is out there racing. I think Lucas Pank just anecdotally might have gotten caught up in some of that melee early on in the race in turn one, because I saw him come way back. Look at the window cleaners. Now that is a proper fire suit, helmet. That team is following the rules as I understand, except that man doesn't have gloves on. Supposed to have gloves on. So T. Osborne, you seeing the same thing I'm seeing here? No gloves. It's got the helmet. It's got the goggles. No gloves.
Wow.
Shoes look okay.
Tough Sunday morning for some of these guys with your eagle eye. I'll tell you what.
I don't know if the commentator's supposed to be handing out penalties. But as
you kind of fit in between the two, don't you?
Yeah,
really?
I am. This is kind of I have a weird job. I'm a race official, but also a commentator. Now he has his gloves, so maybe there's a loophole that I'm unaware of in IGT, that the person fueling has to have gloves, and the person buckling in has to have gloves, and maybe the window washer does not. But to my recollection, you're supposed to be having gloves. Look, Fixie Wheels coming in as a new sponsor there. We absolutely love that. Tony giving us that sound. 3.8. Good stuff. And now the crew's yelling at him. We're listening to the live stream, and you're supposed to have gloves on. That is
Javier Ripoll is the car that came in, and of course he was leading earlier. And now he's doing his pit stop, dropping down to 6, and he'll go further down. And that puts Tom Pank in the lead.
So T. Osborne is saying he'd volunteer to work for us. So T. Osborne, reach out to us.
All right.
So they're looking at the clocks. They're saying he's about to go out. Again, if you're just joining us, this is a mandatory 5-minute pit stop. The reason we do the pit stops is just for safety, so that the crews can just kind of get over the wall at their leisure, put fuel in if they need, change tires if they need. But the biggest thing really is the fueling. Take your time fueling. Take your time making sure that every single seatbelt is buckled in, the radios are connected, the cool suits are on. You know, this is for the fun of it, you know, so go out there and have some safe, fun racing. And it evens the field.
Yeah.
Everybody has to do a 5-minute pit stop, and there's some strategy. They start the stopwatch at a certain timing line that we determine at the beginning of pits. It ends at the end of the pits. A lot of the drivers will have the stopwatch there either on the steering wheel or on the roof of their car that they can hit, so they can know exactly when to go in and when to go out. Because if you have a 5-minute and 10-second pit stop, you're not doing as well as the people that have a 5-minute exactly pit stop. But if you have a 4-minute 59-second pit stop, you are penalized.
We're watching the 8th place Stephen Hammond in the Martini Hammond car, the all-red Martini colors, or at least Martini stripes, the famous colors, most recently used by Williams.
If our great PR team is watching, I'd like you to delete the comments that are in the YouTube feed right now by an OUHPY, please. Well, here we are, almost to 10 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where it's about to start really heating up.
Yeah, this is going to be a good finish between these two.
Thank you, Downforce 65, doing your due diligence here on our social media communities. And so we're still showing Tom Pank in the lead according to the scoring, followed by Bob Neapold. But Mark Matisse and Mike Skeen moving up to third place.
Yeah, and Jody Miller and Pippa Mann in fourth now. They've just done their fastest lap, a 2:11.5. So
I got to say, it's an honor to be able to say Guy Cosmo, followed by Mike Skeen, followed by Pippa Mann. Makes me feel like a professional commentator.
Well, they're certainly professional drivers. Look at that plane fly by. Don't worry, there is an airport here.
yeah, exactly.
Before you start worrying, and it is a working airport. It used to be, this is where it got its name or got its start. It was a World War II airport back in the day.
The B-17s. This is where they were training.
Bombers.
For the European theater.
They were looking for some long straights, and that's exactly how Silverstone came to be. And so, yeah, that's why a lot of circuits have been built around.
A cool story, B-17s would have taken off from here and possibly landed at Silverstone.
Yes, a good point. Very good point.
So still looking at Bird right there, really showing his talent in the number 68 TLM Dayglow orange car. So really cool to see what we're seeing here. We've got these professionals, up-and-coming professionals, and Bird might be one of those drivers in 10 years. We're sitting around bragging to our friends that we knew him once.
Yep. Well, like you said, you rattled off those very well-known household sports car names here that are constantly at Daytona and Sebring, and even in the case of Mike Skeen, both in IMSA and in Trans Am this year. He's not doing a full season of Trans Am, but he's been picked up by the three-dimensional services team, the former champion, and he's here this weekend to race for them.
There he
four-car
is.
entry, and there he is.
There's our leader,
Tom
Pank, from the state of Maryland, with Ultra Performance out of Georgia, running it. Kurt, his mechanic. Very good crew and team. Tom Pank always putting on a great show. So to quote Ken Fangler, how much does Pank have in the tank to finish this race?
Well, I can tell you he's got a 4.2-second lead at the moment over Bob Neapol and Guy Cosmo. Guy Cosmo in the seat at the moment, and likely in third, Mike Skeen in the driver's seat in his GT4.
Yes, Downforce 65. He says he's homesick for Florida, loves the drone shots. That is a drone. I believe we're using a DJI drone. Mavic probably looks like a Pro 2, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's really changed the complexion of racing, has drones, in the last few years, so you can really see the gaps for yourself rather than just rely on the timing. And in fact, I'm enjoying having it's the traffic that I enjoy seeing is you can see the leader, or hopefully you can pinpoint the leader, and then you can see with the traffic they're getting to, especially at this point in a race where you just don't know. When you're looking at the timing sheets, you don't really know what's ahead of it. Yeah. Whereas when you go to the drone, you can easily see what is ahead, especially in those closing laps. You can see what he's going to have to deal with.
So, Jonathan, right now I'm looking at our SpeedTour TV broadcast, and I got to say, and I got to tell everybody out there, I'm not a commentator by trade. I do my best, and it was so great reading the comments last night because I'm learning so much. We have a ton of experts. Right now there are 411 people watching all over the globe, and I'd say probably 390 of them are experts. And the comments that I'm getting, the insights that I'm getting from the comment section, thank you guys so much. Keep it coming. Tell us when we get things wrong, and give us some insight. What are you guys seeing? Because the insight that's coming from these experts out there, and if you've ever wanted to yell at commentators, here's your chance, you know. Give us some insight. Tell us to shut up or tell us to talk more about this car coming through right now. That's 6-7.
So what are you picking up, words of wisdom?
Oh, man, all kinds of stuff. They're talking about races in Barcelona, the fumes from the gases. It's the lava that they had to drink. You know, it's just all kinds of fun. Really fun. We've had some, yes, it is GT3R. It's actually GT3 models. We've got some GT4Rs out there, but this is kind of GT3 Cup racing with Mission Foods. There's so much information coming through. It's like a scrolling Wikipedia over here in the comments section. I can't keep up. But now here we are under 5 minutes to go, under 6 minutes to go here at Sebring International Raceway.
Well, maybe I can clarify a few things. 3 different championships, late model Porsches, Ferrari competitors, primarily sportsman drivers and occasional professional drivers, as you've seen, as we've mentioned, in the likes of Guy Cosmo and a few others. We've got the Stuttgart Cup, the Mission Foods GT3 Cup trophy, and the Maranello Cup for the Ferraris. The Stuttgart Club includes 3.4, 3.8 litre Caymans, and the Mission Food GT3 Cup trophies for 996, 997s, and GT3 Cup cars of the last decade.
So again, Nathan Bird has somehow moved up to 5th place. That is unbelievable. Now there is, I thought that was Pippa Mann right there behind Tom Pank coming into the shot. I couldn't tell, but if it is, that's striking distance. Yeah, that should be Pippa Mann there that you see coming into Mission Foods turn 3. Right behind our leader, Tom Pank, but for some reason on our scoring, it's showing that Bob Neopol and Guy Cosmos should be between them. So they may have come into the pits. Not sure what's happening, but we will get it all squared away.
Well, our graphics on screen do follow what I'm watching on the live timing.
Yep.
From Race Monitor. And I've got Neopol now going into 1st place on my timing screens.
Okay, here we go. Now we're on board with Steve Hammond. Let's try to stay on this shot as he's in 6th gear.
Oh,
yeah, no, we got to go to that. So that's the 56.
Now he's trying to keep that going.
Yeah.
That's Nicholas Groombridge.
Oh, that's unfortunate. 2014. Here we go. Back to in-car. Thank you, guys. So here we are. You're looking at the right. The green line, that's the throttle. The red line that's about to pop up right there, that's the brake. 4th gear. Hitting these are the paddle shifters.
Yeah.
And now this is the most important part. A little bit feathering the brakes there. 3rd. Now you're going to see is go up to 4th, up to 5th. Watch his top speeds. 100 miles an hour right there. Steve Hammond. This car looks really good. Look at that.
Makes it look standing as though he's standing still, and he's doing 130. That was
Something's
the 77 Skeen.
I don't know is he coming in? This is slow for Steve Hammond. But he's outside. He's not coming in. He must have gotten, I think that was just fully he got the draft. He started the draft and that 3-car train just came up and got him. That's the bad thing about these long straights. Stephen Hammond drops back to 7th place. David Tuati and Nathan Bird still in 5th place. But man, these in-car images are fantastic to see what these drivers are going through. Side by side into 3. I don't recommend that.
Good racing though, isn't it?
But yeah, so see where his air freshener was there. You could it's a good point, Jonathan. You could really see the G-forces that he's pulling there. Next time I might ask him to put a little lead weight there. We could really see it.
So battles aplenty in the closing stages of this. It's been a long race, and we've had one major incident as we watch the 67 of Bob Neopol fighting hard in the closing stages. Now leading this race.
Oh, we've got some Go Pippas. Yay, Pippas. Got a lot of Pippa popular. Man. Oh, yeah. She is one of my favorite people in the paddock. And it's so cool to see her, you know, just walking around the paddock, and Mike Skeen and Guy Cosmo, some big drivers. It's such an honor to have these drivers. Butch Leitzinger. I've been a long-time fan of Butch Leitzinger.
Whoa, somebody took to the dirt, and he's gone right off now and into the wall. I think he saved that just before the bridge, and that's a classic place to go off. You just take one wheel onto the dirt, and it's so dry out there at the moment that it just starts spinning up immediately. So your leader, Neopol and Cosmo. Cosmo at the wheel and bringing it home ahead of Tom Pank. And Mike Skeen in 3rd, Pippa Mann 4th. Nathan Bird dropping down to 5th, but that's still a good run by he and David Tuati. And Pedro Torres, who had been 3rd, down to 6th now, just ahead of Stephen Hammond. John Reisman is your top 8. We saw the 56 of Nicholas Groombridge stuck in the wall for a bit. Let's hope he's got it going. He's just done his fastest lap too. 1 minute to go then, and all eyes on this car.
Bob Neopol, Guy Cosmo, they played the strategy right. We were saying it. They were a lap down, but it looks like whoever came through made that call to come in. It's a good call. Tom Pank, though, still showing and scoring 1st place.
Yeah, the timing's not been easy on this at all, because it keeps swapping around between the two.
Yeah, it's the difficulty of these enduros. It's tough to keep track of who's where once they pit. So let's see what happens when he crosses the line here.
Well, I've got the, yeah, it's the last lap board out.
There he goes. So Tom Pank must be in the pits, and we should see him dropping down. Could we get a shot of the pits from camera 1?
Now, do I see a truck on track? Yes, I do. That's not a good scene.
Oh, there we go. Now, if you're wondering why a truck is out there in this race, that is the Sebring safety crew who will do hot pulls. The flaggers around the corner workers will show a white flag telling them there's a safety vehicle on track, and they will go out and pull hot so we don't have to go to full course yellow, which we really do appreciate from Billy and Matt Muha. The safety crew here at Sebring does really fantastic work to keep us racing.
He's pulled off track now. But that
Billy Kingston is his name.
A bit scary. Final lap then for our first race of the day, the IGT, the International GTs, their 3rd race of the weekend. And we're looking at Tom Pank in that green and blue, bouncing his way through the famous Sunset Bend, as he will take the checkered flag, and does take it. So it was Tom Pank all the time. Bob Neopol is 2nd, but Tom Pank will take his 2nd win of the weekend as he takes the checkered flag. A little confusing, I'll be the first to admit. But that's because Bob Neopol and Guy Cosmo took that early pit stop, so we were always kind of second guessing as to who was where. But the timing board's not able to keep up very easily, and likewise, therefore, throwing us the odd curveball. But Mike Skeen, Mark Mathis taking 3rd place ahead of them, Bob Neopol and Guy Cosmo in 2nd. And an excellent 2:07.6, the best time for Tom Pank. And well done to David Tuati and Nathan Bird, top 5, just behind Jody Miller and Pip Mann. Pedro Torres does finish 6th, Stephen Hammond 7th, and John and Paul Reisman in 8th position ahead of Chris Ruppel and Eric Zitzer. And then rounding out the top 10, Marcel Fayen in the 03 car. Now the IGTs will be with us throughout the SVRA season, so they've got a big season ahead. This is their 1st round as well, and they'll follow where SVRA is, not at every round, but at several different rounds. And they've just seeming to find a nice home here with SVRA. It seems to fit nicely. And when it comes to Trans Am as well, you get the likes of the Skeens coming in to do a bit of extra driving, and they are welcome. So that concludes our first race of the day. Plenty more to come from Sebring. Stay with us. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back from the Speed Tour. Join us in a moment.